Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Grace, and today we have another topic that we are going to look at, and we shall be reverencing our teachings today from the book of Hosea, chapter 2. Hosea was a prophet, and it is in the Old Testament, and Hosea was commanded by God to marry a prostitute. This was a symbolic act because God was angry with the people of Israel, and it's the Israelites in this chapter we are reading that are recognized as the prostitute. So it talks about how God was with the people of Israel, how he loved them as a husband loves a wife. His wife, that is. So this relates into the book of this Hosea that Israelites, there was a time that they were faithful to God, the God who took them from the rod of slavery. And later they turned their ways and they got into things that showed unfaithfulness. Like a prostitute does, it's what the Israelites did that now they were regarded as unfaithful to God. So when Hosea was teaching this, he was teaching in a point where the Israelites were the symbol of a prostitute and God as the husband who was faithful to them. So when Israelites are termed as prostitute, they had changed their way of worshiping God. They have indulged into worshiping so many evils, or they were indulged into so many uh, things that God was not happy with. So let's read in the book of Hosea, chapter 2. We are going to look at the whole chapter and we see how God was angry and why he recognized Israel as a prostitute. So, my children, plead with your mother, though she is no longer a wife to me, and am no longer her husband. Plead with her to stop her adultery and prostitution. If she does not, I will strip her as naked as she was on the day she was born. I will make her like a dry and barren rod, and she will die out of dust. I will not show mercy to her children. They are children of a shameless prostitute. She herself said, I will go to my lovers. They give me food and water, wool and linen, olive oil and wine. The Bible continues and reads, So I am going to fence her in with thorn bushes and build a wall to block her away. So this is what God is saying, that Israelites had stopped to be God's wife, and he says that the children or the people, the offspring that the Israelites had, we are being told to plead, or the people God had chosen among the people of Israel to plead with the people who had turned against God to go back to the right ways, or to go back to the root of worship, to go back to God who had taken away had taken them away from the rod of slavery. So God is saying that if Israel does not change, he is going to strip her naked. When somebody tells you that he is going to strip you naked, it means that there will be no secret that you will be able to keep. If somebody strip you naked, he is bringing shame upon you. So when God says that he is going to make the Israelites naked, he was going to bring shame and disrespect to the people of Israel because of what they had done to God. So God says that I will make her like a dry and barren rod. That if he, because the Israelites are regarded as the wife or the prostitute, that God was going to make them barren. They were not going to give birth anymore. The tribe or they were not going to be more offspring, because God says that He is going to turn them barren and dry. So when you talk of a dry rod, it means it cannot produce any foods. He says even to the children of the Israelites, he was not going to show mercy, because they are an offspring of a people who are disrespectful to God. So when we sin, the sin is not only for us only. The sin is even related to the offspring or our children. Because if I had a certain behavior that is not godly, my children will take it from me. So I cannot be able to cut it off, because they will do what they are saying their mother or their dad do. That's why God is saying that even the people, the children, He was not going to have any mercy. So God says that He will fence her with the thorn bushes and build a wall to block her away. When somebody blocks you, it means when there is a barrier before you, you cannot be able to access the front part. Or if you are blocked everywhere, when God says He is going to put a fence, that you will not be able even to see the other side. So you'll be just going around at the same place, no success, because if you feel like expanding, you cannot. So God says that He was going to put a fence around with thorn bushes and build a wall to block her away. So God was so much fed up with the people of Israel that He did not want any more anything to do with the people of Israel. She will run after her lovers, but will not catch up with them. That when God has turned away from the people of Israel, when they go to the gods and the people that they were serving as their masters and had forgotten about God, God promises them, even if they catch up with them, they run after them, they will not be able to catch up on them. She will look for them but will not find them. Then she will say, I am going back to my first husband. Ah, I was better off than I am now. So after God has brought the shame, He has made the Israelite barren. He had made them a dry rod. He has made even had not shown mercy on the people or the children of the Israel, that He says after putting a fence and building a wall to block the people of Israel from going or accessing God or even praying to Him, He says that the prostitute or the Israel will run after the people she had, but will not catch up with them. He look after them, but will not find them. But in that situation, when you are at your end point, you have no option. It's not when you will realize about the first God, or it's when the prostitute will remember the first husband, and he will say that I was better off then as I am now. I was better off then. So he or she starts remembering the good things the first husband has done. Now this prostitute, who are the Israelites, that after God had abandoned them, after God had brought shame on them, the Israelites, would remember the God who brought them from the land of Egypt to the promised land. So, what does the Bible continue to say? She would never acknowledge that I am the one who gave her the corn, the wine, the olive, and all the silver gold that she used in the worship of Baal. So at harvest time, I will take back my gifts of corn and the linen I gave her for clothing. I will strip her naked in front of her lovers, and no one will be able to save her from my power. After God had, she has not remembered that God gave her, the Israelites, the things that they have, all that they have acquired. It's through God that has made them to have them. But because they have forgotten even the first blessing that God gave them, the promised land, the good things that God did in the desert, the water in the desert, the many things that God did to the people of Israel, that after now she has forgotten about even those first gifts. God was to bring shame, and nobody could help them. It's at this point that we find ourselves after we have been abandoned, even by the people we love. It's when we start remembering of where God had taken us from. So after that, uh, God was going to cut all the festivities, all the celebration that the Israelites had, her annual monthly festival and her Sabbath celebration, and all her religious meeting. So she was not have any meeting. She was to live alone. He was burdened alone to live in a way that she felt like. But God says, I will destroy her grapevines and her fig trees, which she said her lovers gave her for serving them. So when there is things that we get from doing not the right things, the things that we get in the wrong way, God was to cut them off. God was to cut the fig trees and the grapevines that the Israelites said that she got them from serving the masters, or say the Haravas. I will turn her vineyard and orchard into a wilderness, and her and wild animals will destroy them, and the wild animals will destroy them. I will punish her for the times that she forgot me when she burnt incense to Baal and put on her jewelry to go chasing after her lovers. The Lord has spoken. So God was to punish the Israelites of all the mistakes, and even the praying of the Baal prophets and giving burnt sacrifices, which was against the law of God. So I'm going to take her into the desert again. There, I will win her back with my words of love. I will give back to her the vineyard she had made. Vineyard she had, and make Trouble Valley a door of hope. She will respond to me there, and as she did when she was young, when she came from Egypt. Then once again she will call me her husband. She will no longer call her Baal. I will never let her speak the name of Baal again. So at times when we turn against God, there are some tribulation and some tests that we go through. Christianity is not a smooth path. You go through uh, temptation, through tribulation, but above all, God takes us through. But in this one, the Israelites, the prostitute, was to be made barren. The rod was to become dry. That is the offspring or the children of the Israelites. The God was not to show mercy. So God, to retrieve the first relationship of God and the Israelites, he was to take her back to the desert so that she can remember what God had done to her since he brought them from the land of Egypt. From there, the Lord says that he was to give back the vineyard. Everything that he had taken from the Israel, he was to give back. After now they had recognized the love God had for them, and now they had stopped praying the Baal or the law, the gods that they had made using jewelries and whatever. As the Bible says that you shall not make any idle thing to worship against God. So that's what Hosea said, prophesied during this time when the Israelites had turned against God. What do you think about that topic? Let me see you in the next one.